Okay. So I can't say that on air?
Yeah, probably not. Alright. I think it's going. Yeah, okay, we're live. Wonderful. Great. Okay. Good morning, everybody. This is the Triple Threat Show. Oh, shoot, there we go. Alright. Good morning, everybody. This is the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM and WXJM.org, excuse me. This is the Triple Threat Show hosted by me, Jeremy Lapidus, and I am joined today by
Shane
and
Peter.
So unfortunately, Hayden is not feeling too well, so Peter is here to fill in. So, first of all, how are you guys doing this week? How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Just rough weather today. Just a rough day in general for the JMU community.
Yes, yeah.
Very rough day.
Hold on. Peter.
Yep.
Could you switch to mic center? Because I don't think this is working.
Is that better?
One more time?
Is that good?
No, it is not working. Weird. Alright, we'll just... This is odd. Whatever.
Well, I'll see you guys.
Try the other one, I guess?
Sorry, we're just experiencing some technical difficulties.
One more time?
We good?
Huh?
Are we good?
Well, one more.
Test.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Third time's the charm.
Yes, welcome, Peter. Yes, that is Peter. He's here to fill in for Hayden, as I said. But, unfortunately, there was, before we really get into the show, there was some really sad news coming out of the JMU community today. The catcher on the softball team, unfortunately, Lauren Burnett, the catcher on the softball team for JMU, passed away yesterday or this morning. Our thoughts and prayers go out to her family, her friends, anyone who knew her. Just make sure everyone knows that there's people they can reach out to and talk to. Hopefully nothing like this ever happens again. We are all mourning for her, and we hope that people can never have to experience something like this again. So, with that out of the way, I say let's just move to some other JMU sports news. There wasn't a lot this week. It really just was the women's lacrosse team continued their dominance. They are now won 9 straight, which is, as we mentioned last week, the record's 11. This was on senior night. They have one game left in the regular season. So I'm not sure how the record works with the postseason and stuff. But
so, since the CAA, since they didn't allow JMU teams to participate in playoffs, they are still eligible for an at-large bid at the NCAA tournament, though.
Yeah, so they're ranked 11.
Yeah.
You know, they've been really good this season.
I would be surprised if they don't get in.
They're 3-3 against ranked opponents.
Yeah.
They've beaten the number 3 team, the number 13 team, and the number 19 team. So they've had a lot of success this year. I don't see why they wouldn't make it in. I don't 100% know the format.
They also have a player who's nominated for the Tuarton Award, which is the I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's the lacrosse equivalent to the Heisman Trophy.
Right.
Isabella Peterson is nominated for that. She's tied for 6th most goals in the country. She leads the CAA in goals and is averaging almost 4 goals a game. So I would be surprised if they don't let her and her team have a chance to play in the tournament.
Who knows?
Especially a player of that caliber. But
we'll have to look into it. They play their last game this week against Drexel. That would be so Drexel's actually also undefeated in the CAA. So this would be
really? It's a big game.
Yeah, this is a big game, and let's hope to have them finish out strong. All right, Shane. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of JMU stuff.
Yeah.
But let's move to hockey real
Gotcha.
quick before we get to mock draft and
NBA
playoffs.
recap.
Yeah.
Recap.
yes.
All right. So first off, Alex Ovechkin adds on to his goal-scoring legacy. He gets his 9th 50-goal season of his career. He ties Gretzky and Mike Bossy for most 50-goal seasons in a career. Unfortunately, though, he can't really add on to his numbers right now because he's day-to-day with an upper body injury. Should be healthy for playoffs. I'm not too worried about that. He kind of slid into the boards weirdly, and right now they've already clinched a playoff spot. It's best just to rest him and get him ready for playoffs. He kind of did everything you needed him to this season. He gets another 50-goal season. He has 90 points, career high. It's first time he's had this high of a point total in a while. So he's done everything you need to. Just make sure you're healthy for playoffs. Unfortunately, last week we had a Hockey Hall of Famer, an icon, Mike Bossy, passed away last week, and then we have another NHL legend, unfortunately, who passed away. Guy Lafleur of the Montreal Canadiens passed away at 70 today. He was one of the all-time great Montreal Canadiens. He was one of the best players of the 1970s, and I remember my dad grew up watching him and his dominance because Montreal was just winning a championship every other year at that point. So tragic day for the hockey community again, losing these two legends in back-to-back weeks. All right, and then playoffs are just around the corner for the NHL. The last NHL games are going to be this Friday, and one team still trying to get in is the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights are currently playing the Dallas Stars today. They need to win this game in order to still have a chance at playoffs, and Dallas is 3 points ahead of them. So Vegas really needs to beat this team in regulation to have a significant chance of making it. And they also pretty much need Dallas to lose out, best case scenario. They need Dallas to lose out, and Vegas needs to win out the rest of the games this regular season. Right now, the Ducks have to go against two non-playoff teams in Arizona and the Anaheim Ducks. And then the Vegas Golden Knights have to face the Chicago Blackhawks and St. Louis Blues.
It's a much harder schedule.
Yeah. Vegas has a much harder schedule, and then it's out of their control if Dallas wins or loses. So Vegas not in a good spot right now.
No.
And to add insult to injury, Vegas starting goaltender Robin Lehner is out for the season with a surgery.
What surgery? Do you know?
I'm not too sure, but it's been bothering him all year, which kind of explains why he hasn't looked as sharp this year. I think this entire Vegas team is just injury riddled. I think, like, on paper, they're still a good team, in my opinion. It's just, I think this year there was just so much going on with the whole Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel's still recovering from his injury. He hasn't played professional hockey in 6 months and having to rehab that injury, and he still has to gain chemistry with his new teammates. It's kind of hard just to throw yourself in the middle of the season like that. And like I said, everyone in Vegas has been injured. Like, this is a playoff caliber team when healthy, but they just haven't been able to do that this season. So I think Vegas, I don't see Vegas making the playoffs. They got it's a long shot if they do make it. I don't think they're going to. I think they just need to take this year to get everyone healthy, get their salary cap figured out, gain some more chemistry with your new teammates that they acquired, and just kind of figure it out from there. I just call this season a dud. It was kind of a fluke. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and just get ready for next season.
All right.
And then my last bit of hockey news is that the Hobey Baker Award winner for college hockey, Dryden McKay, he was a goalie for Minnesota State, and he was an unrestricted free agent, and he signs with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He is signed a contract with the AHL team. Unless Toronto has significant injuries, he's probably not going to join the Maple Leafs for the playoff run since they already have two goalies there. So, but it's good for the Leafs, though. Their goaltending situation has been very inconsistent, and if this guy can play really well on a rookie contract, that will really help their salary cap situation.
Mm.
And undrafted goalies out of the NCAA have played really well in the past. I know Ben Bishop wasn't undrafted, but he was a pretty late round pick, so I'm excited to see what he does with the Maple Leafs.
All right.
And that's all I have for ice hockey.
All right, then. We'll get to basketball in a second. But, sorry. There was just some big news coming out of baseball. The Yankees report, the Yankees letter. Basically, in 2017, you all heard about the Astros sign stealing scandal, yeah?
Mhm.
Yep.
You know how that was a whole big deal. Well, the Red Sox got caught like a year later doing a similar thing, not the exact same, but they were also stealing signs. And just now, today, like an hour ago, the Yankees letter was finally released. This is an investigation into the Yankees because they were also accused of stealing signs and cheating. What this report basically said is the Yankees were illegally using the replay room to steal signs. So, I don't know how much you guys know about this topic.
Sign stealing?
The whole thing with the Astros and everything. I don't know how much you guys know about it, but the animosity between these teams and stuff, and why. Obviously, it was a big deal, but I don't know how much you know about the things behind this story.
I know it at a very surface level. I don't
Yeah.
know like the deeper, grittier details. All I know is teams are breaking the rules and they probably should be punished for it. I don't know how significant it is stealing signs, but I'm not familiar with baseball, but it seems like if you're breaking rules, you got to face consequences for them, right?
Right. But
I don't know. I
no.
feel like cheating in baseball is the most like normal thing in the world at this point.
Yeah.
Look, in every sport,
What
if
sport has more cheating than baseball?
Yeah.
I'm not saying baseball doesn't have the most. What I am saying is, if you're not cheating in a sport, you're not trying.
I think in baseball they also get caught the most too.
Well, yeah, because
the
they do
thing.
it the
Yeah.
most. Like every player's, I mean, like
You know, it's not cheating if you don't get caught, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Almost every single player on a lot of pro sports team is doing some type of
Right.
Sports
it's
enhancing,
it's
yeah.
it's not.
performance enhancing thing.
I wouldn't go that far. Everyone's trying to get a leg up on the competition.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Sorry, the way you said
Legally
it.
or
The way
illegally.
you said it made it sound like they were using performance enhancing drugs.
I mean, some of them are.
Some of them are. You're right, but not all
I
of
wouldn't
them.
be surprised.
I
I would honestly be more surprised if no one is using.
I'm not saying no one is,
think about it.
but he said everyone,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I mean, there are some bench warmers that there's no point in them using
Okay,
it.
Peter. But the Yankees were the team that was the Yankees fans was the fans that were the most angry about the Astros. Yeah, so that's where the irony
I
comes
think
in.
that's par of the course for
That's
Yankees fans,
that's
though.
why I was asking you guys about how much you know about it, because the Yankees fans the
I feel like they'll
Yankees
just get angry about a lot of things.
Mhm. The Yankees played the Astros 2 years in a row in the AL Championship Series,
Mm-hmm.
right? And both years the Astros won that series. And when the Astros thing came out, all the Yankees fans were like, if they weren't cheating, the Yankees would have absolutely destroyed them.
Oh, stop it.
But now this Yankees letter comes out, and it basically says, well, the Yankees were also cheating.
Should have cheated harder.
Well done.
It wasn't to the extent of the Astros, but what they were doing is they were getting a camera from center field in the replay room, and they were understanding the signs. You're allowed to try and pick apart signs in the replay room. You're not allowed. I'm explaining this. You're on second base. You know, you can see the catcher's signs,
Mhm.
right? If you're on second base, you're allowed to try and figure out those signs, right? What you're not allowed to do is have a camera and have that camera be like, this is what's happening. And then go tell that to the guy on second base, which is what the Yankees were doing.
So what I'm hearing is you need a camera inside of the second base person. So that's completely within the rules. He's the second base person.
No. It's like a gamesmanship thing. You know, if you can figure out the sign, that's totally legal. If you can figure it out on your own. But if you can't figure it out on your own, you're not supposed to have like outside help and stuff.
Mm.
But the Yankees were doing it. The Red Sox were doing it. This is the same thing the Red Sox were doing. And I'm sure a lot of other teams were doing it too. You know, this is
Yeah, definitely.
this is not something that's just the Yankees, just the Red Sox. It's a little funny.
Yeah.
I think it's a little funny because Yankees fans like I mentioned, were the most angry. And I don't know how they're going to react to this.
They're not going to care.
They're not going to care.
They're just going to...
Yeah, they're going to be like, at least it wasn't as bad as the Astros.
That's exactly what they're going to say. I'm sure a bunch of them have already said it.
It's like, hey, I know we messed up, but the Astros, though.
They're all posting on Elon Musk's new social media website.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So the thing about it is, there wasn't the only incident involving the Yankees this week. They played a game against the Cleveland Guardians. I don't know if you guys know this, if you guys know what happened.
I'm not familiar.
But basically, Yankees fans just started throwing beer cans and trash at the opponents.
Yeah, I think I somewhat heard of that, yeah.
when your team can't win, then
They
you gotta
were
help
winning.
them out.
They were winning.
What?
What?
They were winning.
What do you mean they were winning?
They were winning.
Then what's the point?
That's an excellent question.
Just to be mean?
They were just throwing stuff at him. I don't know exactly why they were throwing stuff at him.
It's probably just mob mentality.
But
One person did it, and then everyone just followed along.
You know, they were trash talking and stuff, and I'm sure he did some kind of trash talk back because you've got time when you're in the outfield, right? And they just started throwing trash at him. And then another dude came out, another guy on the, this was like in between, this was like at some point, another guy on the Guardians came out and was like, and they just kept throwing trash. The only reason they stopped is because Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton went out there and yelled at them to stop throwing trash.
Imagine Aaron Judge coming out to yell at you. This 6'7" baseball guy that you idolize is telling you off for being the biggest. I mean, like, this is stuff that 6-year-olds would do.
Yeah.
These are grown adults.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue. So I'm 90% sure that all those fans are going to be kicked out of the stadium for at least, they're going to be suspended for a while.
Yankees fans are temporarily holding an award for worst fan base right now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And you know they deserve it.
You know, Charles Barkley, who says really outlandish things on whenever he says that he wishes that every single sporting event you could just take a fan like that's being annoying out to the center of the court and just fight them. And then it just be a lesson to all the fans being like, I am much bigger than you and stronger than you. Like,
see, as awesome as that would be, you know there'd be people that go to the games just to get beat up by a player. They'd be like, pick me, I want to show you that I can beat you up.
oh,
No.
Like, let's be honest though. I'm not sure if y'all have ever seen basketball players fight, but they have no idea how to fight.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like, they're just flailing their arms.
It's the same.
No
It's the
rhythm,
same
no
thing
anything.
in baseball. Like they have these
Baseball players know how to fight better than basketball
better,
players.
but they still really don't.
Oh, of course they don't. What I don't understand is they have a weapon. They have a baseball bat.
They're not trying to kill people,
Yeah.
Peter.
Well, I'm not saying they try and like actually kill them, but what I'm trying to say is like they do have a weapon.
Yeah.
And has anyone ever rushed someone with a baseball bat before?
Kind of.
They also have like baseballs. Like there could be a full-on like snowball war with baseballs.
So there was, people rush the mound sometimes, right?
Yeah.
The closest someone came to running at them with a bat, they made it halfway to the mound with the bat. And then they tossed the bat aside because they probably realized, and again, I'm not in their head here, but, I might be angry, but it's not
attempted murder.
worth going to jail for.
Yeah.
It would be attempted murder.
It would be attempted murder, yeah. So it's probably not worth it. So he dropped the bat.
I don't know, LeBron could probably do it and get away with it.
I know there was this scenario in ice hockey where I can't remember why, but the Boston Bruins team just went into the stands because there was a huge fight with the fans. I think some guy was heckling one of their players, and then the glass kind of fell over because the guy was like on top of the glass trash talking, and then the glass fell over. And so, of course, it escalated from there. And at one point, one Boston player like took off somebody's shoe and started to beat the fan with his own shoe.
Oh.
So it was.
That has to be like one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. A fan fighting a fully body armored person.
Yeah.
Like
Still with skates on.
He's also got
Still-
blades on his feet.
he
Yeah.
can take them off,
Yeah.
and then he's just wearing padding. you're not gonna win.
Yeah. And like they just, especially for ice hockey, like it's built into the sport. You have to know how to fight pretty much, and at the professional level.
Yeah.
So it's just that's the last professional sports group I would want to fight, besides maybe a football player.
I'd fight a football player before I fight a hockey
I
player.
think it depends on the football player.
Also depends on the hockey player too.
If you're fighting a cornerback, then like I feel like you have pretty good chances. If you're fighting an O line, then he's just gonna lay
Like
on you.
Aaron Donald.
He's
Look,
just gonna lay on top of you.
I'm not saying I could beat anyone in a fight, because believe me, I could not.
No, no. How about those cricket people?
I mean, they got a bat.
What about an MLS player?
They would kick me out of my body.
Let's see. What sport would Jeremy win in a fight?
The answer is none of them. I couldn't take anyone in a fight.
No, there's got to be something.
Okay, I'll let you think about that one. You know
Badminton
what? No,
actually
you're
goes
right.
out.
No,
Ping pong.
I could probably take someone from a paddle sport. Not
Curling.
tennis, but a paddle sport. I could maybe take
No,
some tennis.
tennis,
I
for
could take
sure.
some tennis. Yeah.
Curling.
I don't know, man.
A sport that the bobsledding sport, not fighting any of those people. Those people are insane. They're facing like 4 Gs of force,
Mm-hmm.
and
Like,
that's fun for them.
yeah,
No.
that bobsled luge
No,
skeleton.
no, I'm good.
I'm good. I think I could take a jockey.
With or without the horse.
Definitely without the horse. I feel like
I
the
don't
horse.
know.
I feel like the horse adds a
Horse just
whole nother
wins.
thing, because I feel like horse could
You just,
Decimate any athlete.
any athlete.
You
Yeah,
just-
just one placed kick and then
Yeah.
they're done.
I don't know. I feel like there are a few athletes that could fight a horse.
I-
Shaquille O'Neal in his prime is like every horse is just a miniature horse to him.
Look, it doesn't matter how small the horse is. If that horse gets
If they kick,
well placed kick on you, you're done.
you're done. Yeah.
But prime Shaq,
A well placed kick
Well-placed
takes
kick can
anyone
knock
out.
you out.
Anyone.
prime Shaq
Anyone.
was just like a mountain.
He's
He
not the
definitely
Flash.
He definitely stands a better chance
Oh, he's
than most
definitely not
human
the Flash.
beings. But it's still a
It's not like he could
still
dodge
like
a horse
one-ton
kick.
horse.
I think that he'd probably just start eating the horse. It's not a fat joke. I just think that Shaq would just start eating the horse.
Herd is a good protein.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the big thing in baseball over there.
We were talking about baseball.
We
I
were talking
forgot.
about baseball, yeah. But we were talking about the fighting and
The fans fighting.
the fans
stuff,
fighting
yeah.
and stuff. And that leads us into basketball.
Oh my god.
He did
it's
bring up Shaquille
incredible.
O'Neal.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
I love basketball right now.
The playoffs are so
So
much
many
fun.
PETA people have been tackled, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, in the
I've heard about
Timberwolves
that,
games,
yeah.
you saw we were watching the play-in game
Yeah.
when the person attempted to glue themselves to the floor. Attempt failed. The glue did not set in time, and even so, it was just like the fingertips.
No, there was another person.
Yeah,
who
they
tried
chained
recently.
themselves. Yeah,
No, there was another person who tried to glue themselves to the
a
floor.
third person.
And the security was on it and tackled her mid-dive to the floor.
Yeah, I saw that video. The security guard was just staring at her the entire time, and as soon as she got up, he just booked it.
Like, it was like this girl like tried to jump over people, and she wasn't very athletic, so she stumbled and then she dove trying to hit it, and this security guard comes out of nowhere like WWE and just spears her to the ground and then just wraps her up in a bear hug. If that guy doesn't get a bonus, then
Yeah.
Look,
I
the
think
Timberwolves.
this is the most impressive thing that PETA has ever done, because it's like no one wants to talk to them anyway, so gluing them to the floor is actually like a
Yeah.
great way to
You know, they had the one person that chained themselves to the floor, and that was the most effective one. Sorry, they didn't change themselves. They chained themselves to the basket.
How?
They took
How?
a chain, and
How
they.
did they do it?
I
in
have
that
no
time?
idea how they did it, but they did it.
That sounds staged. Or there's
It was done. It was done. First of all, why would they stage that?
I don't know, but it sounds there's security guards all over the floor. Who's just like watching, being like, yeah, this is okay. It's okay that someone is literally tying themselves to a basketball post. You know what? I think they should have just kept on playing basketball. And just had like the person just start screaming as 6'8" men just run at them at full steam.
These are all in Timberwolves games too, so you know.
Just Karl Anthony Towns, 7'1",
Mhm.
just colliding through them.
On accident.
Oh yeah, on accident, of course.
On accident.
You
Yeah.
know, he is a cat.
Yeah. Right. They can't.
Dad
they,
joke.
They can't hurt. They can't hurt animals.
Yeah,
for PETA.
exactly. Just don't look at their. I'm not gonna say that.
I'm just surprised how well the Timberwolves are doing in this series.
Yeah. There's been a lot of interesting stuff happening in the NBA playoffs besides the protests. The Timberwolves, for one, I thought they would get dog walked by the Grizzlies, but they play with a lot of energy.
Boston Celtics got
Yeah,
swept.
the Celtics swept the Nets.
I mean,
yeah.
the
Yes,
Celtics
yeah.
swept the Nets.
Which honestly, it should have been more surprising than it was.
I don't think it was really that surprising.
No, it
first
wasn't.
off.
All three of us had the Nets being eliminated.
Well, yeah.
I was shocked it was a sweep, but after watching the first two games, I didn't see them winning a game.
Kyrie, like, I don't care what anyone says. Kyrie was not in basketball shape when he first came back, and it takes more than a few months to get into basketball shape. It's the reason why Ben Simmons did not play for Game 4 or any time during that season. You cannot not be in It's like the only sport that it is that much physical exertion and some more is soccer.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot just be on your couch and then go play in a professional game of basketball. It's just never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Nets were never going to win. I find it hilarious that a lot of people's first instincts to who was going to be the finals this year, neither of the teams are in the playoffs anymore. Both the Lakers and the Nets are gone.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people were like, well, this is just a guarantee.
Well, it's also just the way the NBA is, you know. It's
It
not
didn't
like
used to be, though.
I know, but it's not like in recent memory, you know. It's not like it's not like that was an outrageous take, you know. That was probably something that was very likely to happen. You mean you have a super team over there in the Nets with Harden, Kyrie, and KD. You know, people were assuming Kyrie would get back and that Harden would be there the whole time, you know. And then over there with the Lakers, you got LeBron, who on his own usually.
LeBron is 70 years old.
I know, but he also has Anthony Davis and Westbrook, and to a lesser extent Carmelo Anthony.
You could say a lesser extent for the entire team.
Yes, but the point is, when you look on paper, those two rosters were the rosters, you know. Which it's not shocking to me that those guys were the pick with the, you know, because recent memory you have 2 or 3 stars there. That's the one.
I think that the Lakers had like 32 different starting lineups.
Yeah.
During that year, which is insane. It may have been even more. It may have been in the 40s, which is just insane to think about. Speaking of the Lakers, I'm not sure if you guys follow, but Jerry West, a Lakers legend, is currently suing HBO.
Oh, because of
Winning. So HBO released a show called Winning Time, which has to do with the Showtime Lakers, and while they've released a statement today saying essentially we never said it was a documentary, they never said it wasn't. And during this, they painted Jerry West as a raging alcoholic, and like did a bunch of inappropriate stuff. They also had Paul Westhead, the interim head coach, as an incompetent fool who had no idea what he was doing. That's what they've painted him so far in the series. Neither of these things are true, and it's like anyone who knows anything about those two guys know it's not true. And Jerry West is currently suing HBO for defamation.
That's fair.
And and there's been a letter from like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like a bunch of people saying like all this is lies, like this entire show is lies, and it's actually decently bad because, like I said, HBO released today claiming we never said it was a documentary. But with shows like this, you usually have to say these are real people, but you know the story has been adapted. You have to make it more clear. You can't just be like, this is. I think if you even go back to the trailers, it essentially is like, let's go back in time and see
Yeah.
what it really was like it with the Lakers.
It's a tough line to cross. It's like there's a whole code of ethics for journalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things in there is basically saying, cover your tracks, make it so that everything you're saying is a fact. You know, this is obviously not supposed to be, or maybe not obviously, but according to HBO, it's not supposed to be a documentary, right?
Well, yeah, but they essentially painted it as if they were South Park, but for the Lakers.
Yeah.
And even South Park has a disclaimer at the beginning of the show, and it's South Park.
I mean, he has a case. Obviously, he has a case here. It also, the thing that makes it complicated is he's a public figure, and public figures get treated a little bit differently
They definitely do.
in defamation cases.
It depends on.
I'm not saying he doesn't have a case here. I'm saying it's going to be a little harder because he is a public figure.
No, it definitely will be, but there can also be a claim that he's not as big of a public figure as he once was.
Right.
And even though they painted it at a time when he was a huge public figure, he isn't as much as he is.
He's the logo. I mean,
If you ask
most
like,
people don't know
a
that.
beginning
Yeah.
NBA fan, there's no way they know that Jerry West is the
I didn't know that for a long time. So, yeah.
I didn't know who he was till now.
You know, he is the logo of the NBA. So, he was pretty good at basketball.
Gotcha.
He has a very good case. It will also depend on the state that it is tried in,
Right.
which I can only assume it will be California.
Yeah.
But of course, and clearly this is completely off topic, but like we see Johnny Depp's case being in Virginia, and it's because of the servers for where things were being posted
Right,
was
'cause,
from Virginia.
You know,
So lawyers can get around things like states
HBO
like
HBO is a big
California.
company. They can probably make this in any state they want it to be.
They're going to want to make it in California because California has specific laws to kind of take away rights from celebrities.
Mm.
So unfortunately, if it's tried in LA, Jerry West has less of a case of winning.
It's still something that's in. I mean, it's even if he doesn't win, it's something that I'm sure HBO will change based on it, because regardless of what the outcome is, you never want someone suing you saying you've defamed me. That's like the
Especially-
last thing you want as a journalistic thing.
Especially a main character of the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know that
but-
was off topic.
Yeah, that's
but
fine. No, but getting back to the Nets, you mentioned Ben Simmons. There was a not playing Game 4, right?
Mhm.
There was a whole going into the playoffs. The whole thing was he's targeting Game 4. He's targeting Game 4. But once we got to the day of Game 4, it came out he had back problem and he's not playing. Now, obviously, you mentioned basketball shape is not easy to get into, because it is not. Basketball is nonstop running, you know, especially for a star player that's going to be out there for probably 40 plus minutes.
You also have to remember that these guys are tall. Like, they are big guys. It takes longer for them to get into basketball shape. So, from a cardio standpoint.
But there was a big uproar from the public because they were like, we gave up a lot for you. Come back and play in an elimination game kind of thing.
Do they want him to come back and then re-injure himself and then they don't have him for another year?
No, they don't, which I think this was the right move, because they
Definitely was the right move.
they weren't going to win with him.
No.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to make
Were they
that
already
big-
down 3-0 in the series?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just call it a wash. Go for next season.
Yeah, like, next season you're going to have a fully healthy Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
You're going to have a fully healthy Kevin Durant. You're going to have, hopefully, an in shape and fully healthy Ben Simmons. You will make it much further next
And then you'll
year.
have a whole season to help them build chemistry with each other.
Yeah, like, I understand being upset because you thought, oh my God, the Nets are finally going to win one. What's hilarious is that the Nets have apparently never beat the Celtics in the playoffs, which I find hilarious.
I mean, you think about it now, tides have changed a bit, but the Celtics historically have been a great franchise.
I know, but it's like 120-0.
Yeah. I didn't realize they
Not
played that
one.
much in the play. Like not a single game.
I don't think it's a single game.
That is crazy.
Like, I think
I'd believe series,
Well,
but game is
I wanna
insane.
see. Let's see.
Yeah, that's crazy. While you're doing that, there's been a lot of injuries in the NBA in these playoffs. A lot of injuries to a lot of key guys.
I think Peter's right.
That's crazy.
Wait, no, actually,
Oh,
no,
wait,
no,
no.
that's just for that's this season. Never mind.
Yeah, never mind. I don't know where I saw it. No, because they definitely have one. Wait, no. Of all time, the Brooklyn Nets are have won 12 versus 3 of the Celtics. So it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta find this now.
Yeah, you keep doing that. But there's been a lot of big injuries coming out of here in these playoffs. Joel Embiid, he's got a thumb injury. He's going to get surgery in the off season, and ever since he's gotten that thumb injury, the Sixers have dropped their last 2 games. They were
up 3-0.
They were up 3-0, yeah.
Oof.
And the Raptors have won the last 2, which is fine. You know, the Raptors probably aren't going to win, but the way they've been playing and the way Philly's been playing with an injured Joel Embiid, it's a little bit of a cause for concern, especially since they were so dead set on contending this year, right? They went out and they got Harden. They gave up a lot for James Harden. It's one of those things where Harden isn't the centerpiece of that team. He needs to become the centerpiece of that team, and he needs to step up. But Joel Embiid is the centerpiece of that team. Obviously, he's in MVP contention. Have they announced MVP yet, Peter? I don't think they have.
I don't think they have, no.
But he's first. He's probably going to become second in MVP voting. Maybe first, because Jokic won last year, and voters typically don't
Like to spread the wealth.
They like to spread the wealth, yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked if they gave it to him. But he's probably going to be first or second in MVP voting. He's had an incredible season, and this injury is, you know,
Which thumb is it, the left or right?
I don't know what thumb it is. I just know he tore a ligament in his thumb.
I can tell you, but I found the thing and I'm kind of confused.
Alright.
This was posted to ESPN, so
It's got to be real.
it says Boston goes up 3-0 on the Nets, so this was 2 days ago.
Mhm.
Teams are 143-0 all time in playoff series after going up 3-0.
Oh, it's just it's
okay,
just
yeah.
saying that once you have a 3-0 lead, it's basically over.
You're not coming back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought that I read that completely wrong. But yeah, it's a ligament tear in his right thumb for Joel Embiid.
He's a righty, yeah.
I can't remember if he's the weird guy who is like a righty, but he shoots with his left.
I mean, but that's either way. It's still gonna affect his
yeah,
it's gonna affect his
dribbling, too.
dribbling. It's gonna affect his passing. It's gonna affect his
Yeah.
shooting. It's gonna affect his rebounding. You know, there's a lot of things this is gonna affect, and it's gonna make him less effective. You know, and they need guys to step up. They need Harden to step up. He, in his career, hasn't been the greatest in the playoffs, and they're gonna need him to really step up. They only need to win 1 game to get out of here, right? I think they can absolutely do it, especially with Fred VanVleet being hurt on the Raptors, he's a big part of that team. But I don't know. What do you think is happening there? Do you think it's going to... How much of an effect is that going to have on the Sixers?
A huge effect. I mean, the fact of the matter is Joel Embiid, while he will not be the MVP, that will be Nikola Jokic. I mean, you can't have a year like Nikola Jokic had and not give it to him.
I mean, I agree. He deserves to win it. It's just two times in a row, voters don't love that sometimes.
I mean, you gave Giannis Antetokounmpo 2 in a row.
Right, it's not unheard of, but
and
it's...
Nikola Jokic absolutely deserves... he had one of the best seasons a center has ever had.
No, he deserves it, I agree.
So,
I think it should go to
How
him.
can you then give it to another center? If it was a different position.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it will have a huge effect. I mean, the fact of the matter is that, like you said, Joel Embiid is more than just like their star player. It's their team. Like, they have a very, very good team, but without Joel, they're probably an 8th seed.
Mm-hmm.
Because James Harden isn't how he used to be. He's not nearly as good of a player. I think one of the main things and the problem is that Doc Rivers and James Harden, I don't think their play styles get along whatsoever. there was actually a lot of call when James Harden got traded for Doc Rivers to get fired and to bring in Mike D'Antoni to better work with James Harden.
All right.
But, you know, it's insane to me. Just how many injuries have happened this season. And this is just the weirdest season. I said from the beginning of this season that I thought that the Warriors were going to win it all. And it's starting to look like the Warriors will win it all.
That death lineup is insane. I don't know if they've come out with a name for it yet, but that death lineup 2.0 is insane.
Like,
I feel like that's gonna be the name.
I don't think that's going to be the name.
no.
Well, it's the only thing that's stuck so far
Sure.
that I know of.
It's the only thing I've called it.
The Warriors are just. I don't understand how people could have overlooked the Warriors. All of their star players came back. They were injured for a few years. It's like,
yeah. I think it's just with injuries, you don't know how they're going to bounce back from it, and they've all bounced back really well.
yeah, I think the only problem with that is that a lot of the injuries were not shooting based, and the players that were injured, it was mostly like non-shooting injuries. So even like if they came back and they were a little bit slower, like Klay Thompson comes back and he's slower, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, as long as you can shoot.
Yeah, because his main thing is shooting and defense.
Yeah.
So.
So, on top of that, there were a bunch of other big injuries, right?
Mhm.
You had Devin Booker have a grade 1 hamstring injury, which is putting him out 2 to 3 weeks. And that's having a massive effect on the Suns right now, who are in, I believe they're tied with the Pelicans at
The
2
series
apiece.
tied 2-2, yeah.
2 apiece, yeah. Is Chris Paul good enough? I mean, obviously the Pelicans, people forget about them. They made that big trade for McCollum at the trade deadline, right?
They're not good.
Hmm?
They're not good enough without Devin Booker.
And the Pelicans have Brandon Ingram still. I saw something after game 1 that Zion was questionable. He's not going to play, but he is questionable, apparently.
That would be the literal worst thing that the Pelicans could do right now. Is even though Zion is an amazing player, you guys are tied 2 apiece against the number 1 team in the NBA, who has their star player injured for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The worst thing that you could do is bring in your number 1 ball hog. Is that supposed to ring?
Oh, we got a call. You wanna do it? Why not? Keep going. Hello?
I just think that it's a terrible idea. Oh.
Okay.
What
They're
happened?
calling for the business owner.
Why would you call the...
It's an excellent question. Anyway, what were you saying?
It would be a terrible idea to take Zion Williamson, who would eat a ton of shot attempts, away from CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, all of them.
Yeah.
When he's been injured for most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need that distraction. You don't need to disrupt the chemistry.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
don't change a thing.
It's
if
not
the team's
something that
going
needs to
now.
happen, but it's something that was out there
Yeah.
that I wouldn't be shocked if the Pelicans deem he's healthy enough. I wouldn't be shocked if they bring him in.
That'd be... They'd
It'd be-
lose the series.
The thing being because he's Zion, and that's it.
I don't care if it's LeBron James. You
I
don't
know.
bring...
I understand what you're saying. Chemistry is important. You saw it with the Nets.
Yeah.
Right? That off the court issues really made everything so much harder for them this season.
Yeah.
They should have been a top. Should have been 1 or 2 in the East if it wasn't for this, for all the distractions.
Yeah.
But obviously it weren't. So you see what happens. Zach LaVine was put in health and safety protocols today. We talked about it a little bit last show about Paul George and the play-in games being taken out for the 8-9 game, or for the Clippers Pelicans game, where to play the 1 seed. How that probably changed the game. It's a lot different for the Bulls. It's a little different. That wasn't like a win and you're in kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
obviously COVID's still a thing. I just was curious because we had a little discussion about it last show. But Peter, the NFL stopped testing in playoffs. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And that's a controversial thing, but it made it so that all their stars were in during all these games. Is that something that the NBA should consider doing now that this has happened to Paul George and Zach LaVine?
No,
No?
I don't think so. I don't think that. See, it's hard because COVID has become very political.
Yeah.
But I don't know the exact statistics, but wasn't it that there was more people who got the vaccine in the NFL than in the NBA? I know that there was like a large number of people in the NBA who did not get the vaccine.
Yeah, probably. It's also, there's so many people in the NFL, and the NFL was very heavy-handed in basically forcing people to get the vaccine. They didn't say it out loud, but their protocols said it quietly.
And so I also think it goes down to the NFL. A lot of their stadiums are outdoors.
Yeah.
Like, there's no NBA stadium that's outdoors, and it
never could work.
Awful
It'd be
idea
awful.
for an NBA stadium.
It gets way too windy or it gets rainy, and that messes with everything.
Yeah. So it's indoors, which already, based on, science has shown that it's worse when it's indoors. But also on top of that, because it's different when it's the NFL, because if the NFL, like if one person got sick, then, and it was reported, then like you could have an entire team go down. With the NBA, it's only a few it's like 15 players on a team, mostly less. If you can isolate the case fast enough, it's fine. And a team can keep on going without that player.
Yeah.
So it's different circumstances, like much different circumstances. So no, I don't think I think the NBA is being smart. I know that it's awful for some fans because fans are like, well, my team could have won.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the NBA is based on what they believe, trying to be the most safe possible, and I think that's commendable. Whether everyone agrees with that, would I care? No, but at the same time, I understand why they're doing it.
Right. That's basically the conclusion we came to last week. I was just curious. I wanted to get more thoughts on that since another case popped up here. A few more major injuries here. We had Chris Middleton, Donovan Mitchell, and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is out tonight with knee inflammation. That's like a day-to-day kind of thing. He'll probably be back for the next game. You have to keep an eye on that. Donovan Mitchell had an MRI today. I don't know if you watched the game last night.
I did.
They were getting blown out. I turned it off a little after halftime because they were down 30. So I stopped watching before the injury happened, but I was reading about it, and it was saying he basically fell down when he was limping to the locker room or whatever. So it looked bad, but the MRIs came back negative.
Okay.
So that's good news there. He does have bruising on both quads, and they're optimistic he can play. But again, I'm not sure that matters. The Jazz, if they wanted to win this series, they needed to take all the games where Luka was not playing. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
The Jazz, I don't think, while they're a good team, it's not enough. They need more. Rudy Gobert isn't good enough on offense, and their defense, their perimeter defense just isn't very good outside of... their perimeter defense just isn't very good.
A lot of people are calling for Rudy Gobert to get traded.
He's not the problem.
A lot of people see him as the problem, though.
I know. I was watching a breakdown of the Jazz, and basically what they were saying was the reason Rudy Gobert gets clowned on, why they say he's the problem, is because the perimeter defense is so bad that he has to go and help out, and then they pass around him, and he can't transition fast enough cross court. There's a lot of problems there, and they need, first of all, they need better defenders, and they need they need offensive help for Donovan Mitchell that isn't random 3-point shooters, because those go cold sometimes, and when they go cold, the Jazz are done.
Mm-hmm.
And Donovan Mitchell, as good as he isn't enough on his own, you know?
Yeah.
So they need to either blow it up or they need to do something drastic this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Because Donovan Mitchell wants out, right?
I would do.
He does. I've heard he wants to go to New York. He wants to go to the Knicks. Sure, whatever. Do your thing. But
so that's even a worse situation.
they need to commit to him this offseason, or they need to blow it up. That's what they need to do. And then the Chris Middleton injury, I forgot exactly what it was.
I don't know.
But he's out, I think, 1 or 2 weeks. Giannis is good enough to get him past this first round, right? They're playing the Bulls. That Giannis is good enough to get him past that first round.
Giannis is the best player in the world.
Yes.
So.
They play the Heat next round, assuming the Heat finish up their series.
We'll see. What's the Heat's record?
3-1.
They're 3-1.
They're 3-1, yeah.
Okay, then they'll probably finish it up.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Jimmy Butler being out for a game. That
I mean, Jimmy showed out these playoffs. Like
Mhm.
he's probably the main reason. He's the reason. He's the only reason they won Game 2. He put up 41 in Game 2. Game 3 and 4. I don't know, but I know in Game 2 that's the only reason they won.
I think Jimmy Butler is trying to show that he doesn't really care about the regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs, that's where he thrives.
And that's why the NBA playoffs are so much fun, because
Yeah.
everyone's trying. It's not the greatest thing, but not every NBA team tries their hardest in the regular season because they know they'll make the postseason if they just try half the time. And then they, show out in the postseason, and that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Were there any major surprises so far, basically halfway through this first round for you, that you were looking at?
No, not really.
No?
No.
Not the Timberwolves? Not the Pelicans?
Well, once Devin Booker went down, then
Well, the Pelicans were playing him close even with Devin Booker.
but the difference is like the Pelicans. See, the problem with these things is like people see 8 seeds and assume they're the worst team. They're not. The Pelicans had to change up so much because they didn't have Zion for the entire year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have him for the entire year. When you have a plan to center around someone, it takes a while. It could take an entire season. And also, I think this play-in tournament is the best thing ever for the 8th seed and the 7th seed.
Yeah.
Like, it is literally... Well, no, it's just for the 8th seed.
It's for 8 and 7.
It is for 8
Yeah.
and 7. I think it's the best thing for 8 and 7 seeds. Because while other players are watching the play-in and resting, well, they're not resting, they're still practicing, but they're not getting that game experience, they're playing games.
Yeah.
Like, they are warmed up and ready to go. And sure, this may hurt them towards the end, like if they somehow made it to the NBA Finals or the Eastern Conference Finals. But for that first game, they're much more ready than, let's say, for example, the Suns.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. I love the play-in tournament. I know the players don't, but I love the play-in tournament. I think it's a great idea.
Is that a thing? The players don't like it?
Yeah, they don't like it.
I feel like,
Well, yeah, because if you're an 8th or a 7th seed, you're like, well, what was the whole 82 games for if we're just going to let one game decide
Just to
who's
get
going to make
there.
those final
that's what
teams?
those 82 games are for.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's just like, if you had 82 games to figure
That's
out
what-
who's the 7th and 8th seed
That's
team,
that's what
like
playoffs are.
9th and 10th.
That's what
Like,
playoffs are.
why do they get a chance even though they didn't perform as well in the regular season?
You play your whole season to get to the playoffs, and that's what the playing games are. They're the playoffs. They're not technically the playoffs. They're the playoffs.
But like, why change it now?
Tanking.
they change it now because people increasingly over the years people watching the NBA playoffs has dipped and dipped and dipped and dipped
Gotcha.
and dipped. I've always said that the NBA needs to adjust to more of a March Madness thing of single elimination and then have more teams in the playoff bracket.
Would you just have
I'd have 12 teams on each conference and then go from there and
Alright.
have it be single elimination. They get a lot less commercial time, which is why they don't do that.
You know, it's a series. They're never gonna change it to the series format because
I wish they did because the people would actually watch it.
it's much you get more people in an elimination game than any other game.
Yeah.
So that's just one of those things. Do you have anything to add, Shane, to the NBA?
Well, going off of the play-in round about how teams can get momentum from that, like the Minnesota Timberwolves, like that home atmosphere during that play-in game, like you could see the momentum, and that helped them carry it into the series versus the Grizzlies. So I can definitely see how it's an advantage for the 7th and 8th seed teams just to get that momentum for being there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm surprised, I threw the Timberwolves in there just because why not? Just to say, hey, yeah, sure, why not predict this upset? It's probably not going to happen, and they've lasted a lot longer than I thought they would. So I think it's just that momentum going in really helped them.
Yeah. Right. So there was just a 9-tweet thread that came out about the Yankees report. It didn't say anything that we hadn't already talked about. I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss it. All right. So let's transition into mock
Wait.
drafts.
Wait, just one quick thing. I want to make sure this is true. Did J.R. Smith become a college golfer?
Yeah. And he took an NIL deal pretty recently. He went back to school and became a golfer.
Oh my god, that's incredible. Good job, JR.
He's a businessman. He went to get his degree. Why not become a college
I
athlete
completely
again?
forgot that he wasn't a college athlete, so he's technically still had 4 years of eligibility because he got drafted.
Oh, did he come out of the...
He came out of high school,
Oh, shoot.
so he has 4 years of eligibility. I completely forgot about that.
Why not?
Right, why not?
Yeah.
Good job, JR.
We love it. We love J.R. Smith.
Okay, sorry.
You're good? You're good? I got a mock draft here.
Same here.
I brought a notebook.
I have someone else's mock draft that I will then comment on.
Oh, okay. I threw this together. This is mock draft version, technically 3.0, but I've only made 3 changes. So,
Made a new change every time.
yeah, I made 1 change every time.
But does one change lead to a series of other changes? Or
No,
is
it was
swapping
just
players?
swapping.
Okay. Well, your process was a lot more simple than mine because
Well-
when I was looking over, I'm like, all right, I got to change out this player, but if this player changes, then this player becomes available for this team, and they would pick him up, and it was just a domino effect. For
You
me.
have Ethan Radke going number 1 overall too, right?
Yeah, I've got Jaguars taking Ethan Radke at number 1, and I've got
Detroit's
Detroit
picking,
taking
Cole
Cole
Johnson.
Johnson, and then the Texans at number 3 are taking Shane Green. So
Shane Green.
not Shane. What's his name? Green. I forgot his first name.
Mike Green.
Mike Green. I'm sorry, I forgot his first
The
name.
ice hockey defenseman? I didn't realize
Yes.
he was eligible for the draft.
We were talking about this dude. Sorry. There were a lot of greens in my mind. Anyway, those are the top 3 picks.
I think everyone would just quit the NFL and start watching the XFL if that happened.
Anyway, number 1 overall.
Yep. I have Aiden Hutchinson.
Got Trayvon Walker. And this is where it gets interesting, right? Because in my opinion...
Well, I do have someone as well, and I agree with this.
Okay, who you got?
I have Ike Ikwanu or Ikwanu.
Close enough.
Akimi Kwanu.
Yeah, because
I don't know how you said that.
Ike Ikwanu.
Akimi Kwanu.
Okay, Ike Ikwanu. I definitely have him as number 1.
Why is that?
The Jaguars struggled so much with their offensive line this year, and if they want to build around Trevor Lawrence, they have to give him more time.
So, I agree, offensive line is one of their massive needs. They can address that later on in the draft with not saying it's going to be the same caliber, but I believe they have the number 1 pick in the 2nd round.
Yeah, so they'll definitely get a good offensive lineman. that'll
But
fall
the
there.
reason I have them taking Trayvon Walker and not Aiden Hutchinson, because Aiden Hutchinson is the best player in this draft, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The reason I have them taking Trayvon Walker is because, for some reason, reports are out here saying that they like Trayvon Walker a lot. Now, I don't understand it. as I said, I think Aiden Hutchinson is the guy you pick here. Because at number 1 overall, if you don't need a quarterback, you take best available. Right? You always take best available.
Yeah.
Because there's so many prospects, and all of them are very good, but you have to take the best one. You have to make sure you hit when you have the number 1 number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you cannot mess up as a franchise.
You do not overthink the first overall pick. You pick the best player.
But the Jaguars, all reports are pointing to saying that they like Trayvon Walker more than Aiden Hutchinson. Just shocking to me.
Yeah. Which is why I refuse to acknowledge the Jaguars favoring him.
Not saying Trayvon Walker isn't an incredible talent.
Oh, incredible. Just...
But he's not Aiden
Yeah.
Hutchinson. We'll get back to that in a second. We've reached the top of the hour. This is the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, joined by
Shane?
and
Peter.
this is the Triple Threat Show. We are getting back to our mock drafts. That being said, Jags not taking Aiden Hutchinson leaves Aiden Hutchinson to the Lions. The Lions have been talking about him as the guy they want since the beginning of this draft cycle. He's a Michigan guy, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those hometown things that doesn't matter too much, but it matters a little bit.
Yeah, very much a storybook place to go. College, you're in Michigan, and now you go to drafted by Detroit.
Because one of the things at the beginning of the draft cycle, Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau were 1 and 2. Right?
So another reason I was trying to find the report. That's why I was being quiet. But I had read for my pick for the number 1 was the reason why was a person who was close to the Jaguar was told by someone in the Jaguars to expect a surprise for the first overall pick, and that it essentially they alluded to it being. I'm not going to try it again. So
It's fair. There are 3 offensive tackles in this draft that I think are
The same
incredible.
tier.
Same tier.
Yeah.
It's Evan Neal, Ikwanu, and Charles Cross.
I think Iquanu's. I based on that, I would be surprised if he's not the number 1 overall pick, and clearly Aiden Hutchinson would be.
He's going to the Lions. That's who the Lions wanted from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's if Aiden Hutchinson falls, which probably will.
He's
reports.
he's going 1 or 2. Aiden Hutchinson is not getting past 2.
For me,
I can
if
guarantee it.
in my scenario, I have Malik Willis going to the Detroit Lions.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You know how much
Because-
they're paying Jared Goff?
I'm just saying because I like where you have your Malik Willis has a lot of potential. It's if you let him sit behind Jared Goff for a season,
Jared Goff is not a guy you have a quarterback sit behind.
but it's just he can sit, he can learn the NFL, and then he can take up next year.
See
That's
that?
the word I'm seeing right now.
So the reason people do that is because they have a very, very good quarterback that knows the game inside and out. Jared Goff is not that quarterback.
Yeah.
Jared Goff is a guy that got told how to read a defense by Sean McVay on the field. Jared Goff is not the guy you have
Jared Goff has a lot
mentor.
of talent, but he doesn't have a high IQ.
He's not the guy you have mentor your rookie. That's not to say they won't pick a quarterback, but at 2nd overall, Aiden Hutchinson is their guy.
If he's available, that's for me. Because if I didn't have Aiden Hutchinson going 1st overall,
Yeah.
I'm definitely having Detroit take Aiden Hutchinson.
Shane is saying because he has him going
Right.
1st overall.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson is no. You
I
can't
think-
draft him twice.
Right.
Yeah.
If he's not there on the board, they take an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
In my opinion. That offensive line needs work. They have a running back.
Why not Trayvon Walker?
Why not Trayvon Walker? Why
Yeah.
not Trayvon Walker?
As in, like, why not pick
Yeah.
him 2nd if he's available?
Why not? I wouldn't be shocked if they did. He's up there.
But
But
it's Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson is not available in this situation.
Then Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, that defense. There's so many defensive talents here. Take an offensive tackle. Take one of the defensive ends. Take Trayvon Walker. Take Kayvon Thibodeau. All these guys. You know, there's lots of talent out here.
Yep.
I'm gonna run through the rest of the top 10. Stop me if
Okay.
we want to talk about
Yeah.
any of them. Texans at number 3. I have Evan Neal.
I have the same.
Jets, I have Ikwanu taking 4. Giants I have Charles Cross going at 5. Panthers, Kenny Pickett at 6.
Quarterback?
Yeah, Kenny Pickett. This is one I want to talk about, actually. Kenny Pickett.
Isn't the Liberty quarterback Williams or Willis?
Malik
Willis.
Yeah, isn't he the number 1 ranked one?
Yeah.
He is on a lot of draft boards, but all reports are that the Panthers love Kenny Pickett.
It is the Panthers. They'll do something
so-
stupid.
And they're going to draft him with that number 6th draft pick?
Yes. I feel actually very confident about that one, honestly. There's no team ahead of the Panthers that are going to take Kenny Pickett, right?
I just feel like that's like a Daniel Jones situation.
It is
where
exactly a
no
Daniel.
one is picking him that early. You could probably get him later in the first, maybe early second.
I don't think they have a second round pick this year.
Yeah.
I think they take
Then
Kenny
trade
Pickett
back.
because they need a quarterback. They need a quarterback, and they love. All reports are saying that they love Kenny Pickett. It came out yesterday, I believe, that they are not going to trade for Baker Mayfield, which was the one holdup there, is if they had traded for a quarterback. That points to me that they are going to draft a quarterback 6th overall, and everything is saying Kenny Pickett's their guy there. Kenny Pickett going into the draft was the number 1 rated quarterback. It's not like this is a Daniel Jones where half the people didn't know about him, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put it a different way. Could I see the Panthers being that stupid? Yes, because it's the Panthers.
Yeah.
But I so hope they don't.
Yeah.
It would this isn't when you are drafting that high, and there isn't a good option.
You take best available.
You take best available.
And I completely agree with that. I do. I take best available for all of these picks here. If best available is at that position that you need, absolutely take that one. If it's just a step tiny bit lower, but you need that position 10 times more, take that guy instead. But
He's not a step lower.
I'm not saying Kenny Pickett is. Take best available. I agree. But the Panthers, they want to win now. And that defense, if they stay healthy, is good enough. And on top of that, if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, that is the biggest if in all of this. They're a quarterback away if their team stays healthy. Not from contending, but from making the playoffs. Especially on a weak NFC this year. The NFC is super weak this year. So,
Yeah, so it's being reported because I could not believe that the Panthers are currently trying to trade down.
Down?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no.
if you're going to trade for Kenny Pickett,
if
you're
you-
trading back.
Yeah, there's no way you
Yeah.
draft Kenny Pickett with the 6th pick.
That's
you
just such
can't.
poor asset management.
You literally
do
can't.
that.
You would. The general manager would probably get fired.
Probably. Maybe not. The owner really loves Kenny Pickett. That's the
But-
situation here. The owner loves Kenny Pickett.
But if you have any semblance of asset management, you don't. If you get Kenny Pickett in like a second-round pick,
Hey, I'm not saying it's the right move. I'm saying this is what I think is going to happen.
like it's okay to want Kenny Pickett,
Yeah.
just don't waste your 6th overall pick on him.
I'm fine with him being the first quarterback drafted. That's
Yeah.
that's not unheard of. Whatever. You don't draft him 6th. You don't draft him in the top 10. You maybe draft him in the top 20. Not 6th. You can't draft him 6th.
And we'll see what happens here. But I have a really strong feeling that the Panthers are going to
Jeremy,
take him
I
at
do
6.
not want to hear. I do not want to get a text on Thursday being like, "I told you so." I will literally just send a slapping head meme to you.
I won't send you a
I
text.
will slap him for you.
I won't send you a text. I'll just send you a screenshot. I'll be like, I won't say anything. Anyway, Kenny Pickett at 6.
Yeah. Let's continue with your top 10.
Stop it.
Giants' second pick, I've got them taking Kayvon Thibodeau.
Oh, same here.
He's, again, at the beginning of the draft cycle, he was the projected number 1. He sort of slipped down a bit. And if he's still there, you have to take him.
Yeah.
He's very talented. He's got all the pass rushing moves. And he's going to be very good. At number 8, I have the Falcons taking Jordan Davis out of Georgia, another hometown guy. This guy is a defensive tackle. He's so good at run defense, and he's also very big, very physical, very good at getting in the way. and that's what that's something the Falcons need a lot of things, but they need to shore up that defense. And having him as the gap stopper to stop the run is a really good start, because they have AJ Terrell, one of the best corners in the league. He's gonna get paid soon, and if they can stop the run, that defense is looking mediocre. I'm not gonna come out here and say it's a great defense, but they'll be fine. And this is where things get interesting. Picks 9 and 10, I have 2 trades.
Oh, geez, you incorporated trades in this.
I did put a couple trades in. At pick 9, I have the Steelers trading up to get their guy. They're going to trade with the Seahawks. They're going to swap firsts, and they're going to give up maybe a future first and a second this year or something. And they're going to take Malik Willis.
Jeremy, a quarterback is not getting drafted in the top 10.
It's no secret that the Steelers love Malik Willis.
Oh, yes. Malik Willis will be getting taken in the first round by the Steelers. It will not be in the top 10. They don't have enough stuff to give up for the top 10.
They'll give up their 20th overall pick. They'll give up a future first. That's it.
Okay, so I have a few friends that are Steelers fans, and I think that they would all just find a new team.
And that's fair. Look, the Steelers love Malik Willis. The Seahawks, they could take Malik Willis at 9. I think Malik Willis goes 9 either way.
You think he's a top 10 pick?
I do.
I think
teams overvalue the quarterback position enough to do that.
I think he's a
He
top.
would know Daniel Jones got picked there, so.
Yeah.
You are basing.
I'm
all
not
this
basing it off that.
No, you're basing this all as if every single team is run by the Giants.
No, I'm not. I am not. I am not doing that at all. Absolutely not. I am not doing that. All I'm saying is teams overvalue quarterbacks, and you see it time and time again, where teams will not take best available. They will take a quarterback because they need a quarterback. Teams will do this. I'm not saying this is 100% what is going to happen, but this is what is 100% going to happen.
This is what's fun about mock drafts. We can see what Jeremy thinks is going to happen, and we can give him a hard time about it.
Jeremy,
Yeah,
he is not a top 10 pick.
he's a quarterback.
I understand he's a quarterback. This is also one of the weakest quarterback drafts of all time.
I agree.
There's a reason.
And that's why I have 4 going in the first round.
Are you serious?
I have-
Well, you have Pickett.
Yeah.
First off, you have Pickett going above Willis, which is fine.
I've
This
got
is the
I've
Panthers.
got 3 going in the
This is
first.
incompetence
I've got
right
3
there.
going in the first round, but I added 1 for the Lions at 32 because I just wanted to get that one in there, and it didn't really matter because the Jags, there's a sandwich pick. The Lions 32, Jags 33, Lions 34, so it's just a sandwich pick there. It doesn't really matter. So I really have 3 quarterbacks going in the first.
Jeremy, buddy.
Look. I'm not saying it's the right move. I'm saying this is what I think is going to happen based on all the information that has been accumulated.
All right, let's move. Well, who was your 10th overall pick?
Vikings are trading with the Jets at 10 overall. They're going to trade up and get Sauce Gardner.
I don't think Sauce Gardner goes to 10.
Where do you think?
I think he's in top 5.
Oh, I have him going 9 to Seattle.
Where do
Or
you?
I think he's above 10.
He's definitely top 10. I had him falling to the Vikings originally because I really wanted the Vikings to get him, but being realistic here, I don't think he's leaving the top 10, so I have him going to Seattle.
And that's why they're trading up because
I
they
would not
love
be
him.
surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I would be really happy if they did, but I don't think it's going to happen.
So who I think will get Sauce Gardner is either the Giants or the Panthers.
See, I've been hearing a lot about the Giants getting him,
Yeah.
and the last thing the Giants need is a cornerback. The last thing the Panthers need is a cornerback as well.
The second person that I've heard the Giants getting is Derek Stingley,
That's another cornerback.
who's another
I know.
cornerback. So I think you're
I know.
getting another cornerback.
And this is not unfounded. I've been seeing a lot of experts saying the Giants are going to take a cornerback.
Yeah.
But looking at the Giants roster, a cornerback is the last position they need. They have James Bradbury. They have, they signed a dude from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 really good. They have 2 solid starting caliber corners. they don't need a corner. That is like the one position that they actually don't need.
And especially when you have like 3 A-tier offensive linemen sitting right there for you to pick with one of those picks, and a potential like really good defensive end too. I feel like that's way too tempting than to try to get a cornerback.
Another team you say, the
I think
Panthers.
The Panthers are going to take Sauce Gardner.
The Panthers. And the reason why I don't think that is because they also don't need a cornerback.
Yeah, but
They
Matt
they
Rule.
drafted, I understand Matt Rule, but they drafted a cornerback in the top 10 last year. And week 3 last season, they traded for the Jaguars' top 10 corner from 2 years ago. So they have 2 top 10 corners on their roster right now.
And that's why I think they're going to get a third.
And they don't need a third.
I'm just telling you, I think they're going to get a third.
Look, I understand
From
I understand why you're thinking this, because I do. But the Giants and the Panthers are the 2 teams that don't need a cornerback, and
they definitely need a quarterback. Both
Yeah.
of them do.
but if there's a team that is going to take Sauce Gardner before 10, those are the only 2 teams that are not going to be it.
I'm telling you, I think it's going to be one of those. I
And-
definitely think it's probably, if it's not going to be the Panthers, which I will give you, maybe not the Panthers, I definitely think the Giants will pick a cornerback.
I would
and
hate
I
that,
think it will be Sauce
honestly,
Gardner.
because
I
they
would
need
hate that for you.
they need an offensive lineman so badly, and there are 3 of them. They just need one. They need a pass rush. I know you don't watch Giants games, but if you
Why
ever
would I want to burn my eyes?
But if you ever do, they cannot get pressure for the life of them. If the Giants got pressure on a quarterback, oh my God, that defense would be good.
There's also some
Corners
reports-
can only cover for so long, you know?
Oh,
What?
that's bad for you.
What just happened?
Giants just posted less than an hour ago. The post is a reporter who's close to the Giants taking Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, their draft board's locked. That's what came out yesterday. Their draft board is set. They're not changing it.
Yeah.
So whatever's in there is in there.
There's also reports of the Texans
Yeah.
taking Gardner. with
I
the
wouldn't
third.
be shocked if the Texans took him at 3. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets took him at 4.
Uh-huh.
But the Giants don't need a quarterback.
I honestly, I
They
want
don't
it to
need
happen now, so I can send a picture to you.
All I'm telling you is, I'm not saying it's impossible, because it's the Giants, and
I'm
the same team that
So-
picked Daniel Jones top 10.
that's not their worst pick.
I'm literally now going to take a photo of Sauce Gardner and change it into a Giants uniform
Look,
and send it
Honestly, I would love it if Sauce Gardner was on our team,
to you.
but in order for that to happen, we'd have to trade one of our cornerbacks away.
That's fine.
There have been rumors that we're going to trade James Bradbury. If we can get a haul of picks for him and then draft Sauce Gardner, I'm 100% okay with that. If we do not get rid of one of our corners and still draft Sauce Gardner, then it's a mistake. Okay? Then and only then is it a mistake. Sauce Gardner is incredible. He is so good at football. He is going to be a very, very good cornerback in this league. The Giants don't need a cornerback. They really don't.
They're gonna pick Sauce Gardner.
It's the last thing they like.
They're gonna
The
pick
Giants
Sauce
need
Gardner.
so much.
Yeah.
Maybe the one position they don't need is cornerback,
They're gonna pick Sauce
and that's a very Giants thing to do.
Gardner.
And I'd be okay with that if they get rid of one of their corners. I'm saying that right now. If
I
they
hope
don't, I will be
Yeah.
very angry. Anyway,
It'd make a good rant for next week, though.
sure. Yeah, it would be an awesome rant, and it wouldn't be fun to do. What were you? You said you were like a Lions or a Cardinals fan? Kind of?
I used to be a Cardinals fan, but I then stopped watching football, and then I made a joke on some show. I can't remember if it was this one or my own show. That I'm now a Lions fan because I just don't care. So
That's my top 10. I don't know if you guys wanted to run through
Yeah.
the rest of this list.
So
Just
I'll-
real
I'll
quick.
just run through my top 10 real quick.
All right.
It's funny because I think we both have the same picks for the Giants. So Houston, I have taken Evan Neal. At number 4, I have the Jets taking Trayvon Walker. At number 5, I have the Giants taking Akimi Kwanu. At 6, I have the Panthers taking Charles Cross. At 7, I have the Giants taking Kayvon Thibodeau. At number 8, I have the Atlanta Falcons taking Drake London. At number 9, I have the Seattle Seahawks taking Sauce Gardner. And at number 10, I have the New York Jets taking Jameson Williams.
It's a good list. I don't hate it at all. The Jets are rumored to take a receiver. I don't think they need a receiver. They drafted Elijah Moore. He's very good. They have Corey Davis. He's pretty good. They need a lot of things that aren't receivers, but they've been rumored to grab a receiver.
Yeah.
So
And then Atlanta Falcons, they're pretty light at wide receivers, so.
I'm going to run through the rest of it real quick. Stop me if you have anything to say.
Okay.
11, Commanders, Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, same here.
12, the Jets in a trade back from the Vikings. They get George Karlaftis. 13, the Texans get Garrett Wilson. 14, the Ravens take David Ajabo. 15, actually I don't like that one. He's injured. I'm going to have to change that. But
4.0.
I don't have time to change it right now. Eagles at 15 taking Chris Olave. Saints at 16 taking Drake London. Chargers taking Trevor Penning at 17. Eagles, Derek Stingley Jr. at 18. Devontae Wyatt going to the Saints at 19. Desmond Ridder going to the Seahawks at 20. That's the other quarterback I have going here. Trent McDuffie to the Patriots at 21. Traylon Burks, wide receiver, Packers. They need a wide receiver so badly.
Yeah.
Andrew Booth Jr. to the Cardinals at 23. Jameson Williams to the Cowboys at 24. Breece Hall to the Bills at 25. I haven't seen a running back in the first round, but the Bills need a running back, right? Breece Hall can catch. He can fit into that system. That's the one thing the Bills were really missing. They have a nice defense. They have good wide receivers. They have Josh Allen. They have a solid offensive line. They just need a running back. So I think Breece Hall goes here. I don't see another running back going in the first round. Keon Green at 26 to the Titans. Devin Lloyd to the Bucks at 27. Nakobe Dean, Packers at 28. Jahan Dotson to the Chiefs at 29. Logan Hall to the Chiefs at 30. Tyler Linderbaum to the Bengals at 31. And Matt Corral to the Lions at 32. I mentioned a little bit earlier, I just wanted to put him in there because I think the Lions actually take him at round 2, pick 2, but I wanted to put it in there anyway because the Lions are going to grab a quarterback. And he's already hurt a little bit, so he's going to take a little time. But the Lions will grab him up there, I think. Was there anything that stood out to you there, or was it just a list?
I didn't hear Cole Johnson.
No, unfortunately, I didn't do a full 7-round mock draft, so...
Honestly, because I'm asking everyone this now because it's draft week. Clearly, it's not happening on Thursday because he's not going to get drafted.
He's a day 3 pick.
He's a day 3 pick.
He's a day 3 pick.
But do you think he's actually going to get drafted? Let's hear it, Jeremy.
Yeah.
You think he's going to get drafted?
I think the Colts draft him in round 6 or 7.
What about you, Shane?
I think, 7th round pick would be my guess. I just think if you're going to spend a draft pick on him, it's probably going to be a 7th.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe that's what the Jaguars meant, though, by they're going to do something surprising.
That would be hilarious. If they draft a quarterback, especially a Cole Johnson quarterback, after they drafted Trevor Lawrence number 1 overall last year.
What you don't realize, Jeremy, is they're going to start 2 quarterbacks.
So why'd they get rid of Minshew then?
They're going to play with 2 footballs now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that a new rule?
Yeah.
Is that imported from the XFL?
Tell me where the rule is that you can't have 2 footballs.
You know, I have not read the entire NFL rule book.
So there isn't one.
I don't know.
Thank you. Case closed.
Case closed. So how would that work? What if they both scored? Would it be 14 points?
No, they cancel each other out.
They cancel each other out. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's strategy involved. Okay. I don't know why teams just don't do this all the time.
I think what would be hilarious for a video is like if football teams came out for like the Super Bowl and it was decided with just the coin toss, like heads or tails, and it goes heads. And then the rest are like, and the winner of the game is the New England Patriots by way of picking heads. And then just cuts to black. and then
That's just 3 hours of commercials.
and then 30, it cuts to black and like they do the post game show for 30 minutes and people are like livid on Twitter and then they start the game like 30 minutes late.
What a troll.
Oh my goodness. They should absolutely
Come
do
on,
that.
Roger Goodell.
What's the biggest reach in this draft, you think, Peter? What's the biggest reach in this draft? Not on my draft, in the actual draft. What do you think is
Someone's
the big...
definitely going to reach for a quarterback.
If I'm not joking, if what you say is true with the Panthers as the biggest reach,
Alright.
like
It wouldn't surprise me at all if they do that.
that is such a stretch of like I'm not a Panthers fan and I thank my sanity every single day. But I understand Sam Darnold is bad and it's terrifying because Matt Rule's, I don't know if he has a son or if he has any kids, but I mean his kid's probably better at being a quarterback than Sam Darnold and PJ Walker put together. But the fact of the matter is you cannot draft Pickett with the 6th pick. I don't think that on like most mock drafts he's even slated to go in the first round.
I don't know what mock drafts you're reading.
What mock
He's not a
draft
first round QB.
What mock draft have you been reading that says he's in the first round?
Like a bunch of them, actually.
Name it.
I don't have the name. I don't know why you
She
think I
goes
have the
to
name.
another school, huh, Jeremy?
Yeah, she works for another radio station.
Speaking of quarterbacks, reaches, I have Pittsburgh taking Desmond Ridder. If I were the Steelers, and I'd be like, why not? Their quarterbacks there, have that be your QB of the future. And maybe
So
a bit
you
of a
don't
reach.
think that the Steelers are going to get Mikey Willis, or
No, because I have Mike Willis going to Detroit, so I couldn't have him. I know you don't like that pick, but I wasn't aware of how awful Jared Goff is. I didn't realize how much you
horrible.
guys disliked him. So I was just like, yeah, he can just sit on the bench and mentor. That was my naive thinking of it.
No, Jared Goff is a sad case of you thought he was so good, but it turns out it's one of those rare cases where it wasn't the great player that made the head coach, it was the head coach that made the great player.
Yeah.
So, just looking for the mock draft, I found an article saying that the Panthers would be comfortable taking a number of QBs at 6. The QBs
That's
named.
just worse.
The QBs named were first Kenny Pickett, second Malik Willis, and thirdly Desmond Ridder.
I so hope that if that piece of on that note card it says with the 6th pick the Panthers pick and the commissioner reads it, I hope he just says in the mic, I refuse, and goes into the back and says pick someone else.
The Panthers will take a quarterback at 6.
Oh my god.
It says who?
Says CBS Sports.
And if it's going to be the first quarterback off the board, I feel like Malik Willis would be the best choice, just because he is the most upside from what I've heard.
Look, man, this is all I'm saying.
He is
It's
from
the NFL.
Liberty, though.
That's very true.
This is all I'm saying, all right? I'm not pulling this information out of nowhere, all right?
Jeremy,
It's
What?
the NFL. I've seen dumber stuff happen.
if that happens,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that there's just a burning of remember when LeBron left to go to the Heat and everyone just burned their Cavaliers jersey
Yep.
of LeBron? I hope that every single Panthers fan is just yeah, we're done.
They're done?
They're done.
What jersey would they burn for this?
I think they would
Just
Prescribe them
burn their Cam
antidepressants.
Newton jersey?
Yeah, man, they have 2 now. They have the original and then the adaptation.
Wow. You're right.
I think
Who falls? Out of everyone in this draft class, who's going to fall the furthest?
Oof.
So I think my number 1 pick, the guy that I refuse to say his name after failing it multiple times, I'll figure it out eventually. I'll get one of those YouTube videos that's like
just
how
pronounce
to
it.
say,
Yeah,
how to pronounce.
Akimi Kwanu.
Okay.
that one.
Akem? Is it because I know I'll call him. I think his nickname's Icky.
Okay,
Okay, so I'll call him Icky.
all right.
Yeah.
Icky. I could see, even though I have him as number one, I could see him falling. Like, I could see him falling clearly further than number one, but I could see him falling to like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
You know what would be a smart pick, Panther? If Icky was there,
Yeah,
drafting Icky
that would be a smart pick.
instead of Pickett.
Picking an offensive lineman would be a very smart pick for the Panthers.
Yeah.
But that being said, all signs point to no.
I honestly, like, I'm not even like memeing here. I honestly think Cole Johnson's probably a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. Like, if you put him,
Especially if you draft an offensive lineman at number
Yeah,
6.
like if you put a good, Jeremy, say it, say it.
I
I
don't-
also just hate Sam Darnold.
Any
So-
quarterback you have is going to be better if you draft a good offensive lineman at number 6.
I wouldn't go that far. I agree with you, Shane.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far, Peter.
I'm saying that I think Sam Darnold is probably one of the worst starting quarterbacks of all time.
Absolutely. Not of all time, but he's one of the worst starting quarterbacks.
I think he's one of the worst starting quarterbacks.
So
of
do you
all
think that's just because he's bad, or the Jets just ruined his development?
A little bit both.
time. I think, yeah, definitely both.
Yeah. Because I'm just saying, like, if you get drafted by the Jets, I'm sorry for your career.
Anyway,
At quarterback, at least.
we're a little bit over time. I'm sorry, I just looked at the clock. We will continue this discussion later, maybe. We'll do a full draft breakdown next week. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, and today I was joined by
Shane?
and
Peter.
thank you so much for listening. Good night.
How disappointing. You guys got a call and it was someone who's like, "Can